The term spirituality can have a variety of meanings for people of different faiths. Spirituality is, however, about connecting with the soul. It's a level of awareness that's far above the norm. Meditation, prayer, and contemplation are just a few of the ways in which one can grow spiritually. It is the process of trying to understand what life, death, and existence are all about. It's no wonder then that it can take a long time to achieve spirituality. You can't expect to reach enlightenment overnight if you do all the activities that lead to it. As a matter of fact, each person's spiritual growth is unique. It is essential that we have the ability to transcend ourselves, or at least hold on to something higher than our crisis. In order to survive a crisis, the term spirituality is often used interchangeably with religion, but it refers to something entirely different. Even those who do not practice any religion must cultivate their spirituality if they hope to ensure human survival, especially in times of major crises. If you want to develop your spiritual side, you'll need to dig deep within and pay attention to your inner voice more often. Those who follow a spiritual path with focus and dedication will progress through various stages of development. Here is a brief description of each stage and what to expect. 9 steps are commonly used to describe a spiritual journey, according to many spiritualists. The egocentric, or the first step toward awakening. In this first stage of spirituality, the search for a void to be filled after the fulfillment of one's basic instincts and desires is a primary focus. As we get older, our appetites for things like food, sex, fame, and drug use tend to diminish and lose their exhilarating quality. They may begin to think about the concept of spirituality by attempting to enrich themselves with something that is not of this world. Unfortunately, not everyone has the good fortune to catch themselves at this particular stage. Worse, they are unable to progress to the next level of spirituality development or to produce any spiritual growth because they are stuck in this level of development. The honeymoon phase, or stage of faith. Individuals may begin to recognize the source of their existence at this stage of spirituality. Unfortunately, their minds are still untrained and they know only a small amount about divine creativity, which is a risky situation for them to be in. As a result, even though people may have opened their minds to new ideas, they fail to connect this with the discipline of the mind. As a result, they frequently reach the first stage of disillusionment on the 3rd level, step 1 of disillusionment. As soon as people begin to believe, they start giving up, which leads to pessimism. These people have doubts about the efficacy of their spiritual beliefs. It is actually the best time for these people to learn about real spirituality from reliable sources, which is what is actually happening. This stage is like a person who is in love, but then the reality sets in and it becomes clear that they aren't in love. As a result, it is important to emphasize that spirituality is not a simple endeavor, but rather a demanding one. The first step toward realization. While spirituality isn't a problem, people are fortunate enough to realize that they are. Some drawbacks are still present when it comes to spirituality, despite the fact that people are now embracing it by reading as many books and attending as many seminars as possible, as well as taking spiritual teachers. They still have a hard time coming up with answers. There are only a handful of people who are capable of overcoming this stage and moving on to the next, the stage of agreement or conformity. This is the stage where people start evaluating what various spiritual teachers or books have to say about different spiritual paths. They must at some point decide whether or not they agree or disagree with the concepts. In some cases, if they think the points fit into their existing knowledge, they will agree to them, even if they think they can't take some of the ideas. It's perfectly acceptable for them to feel that way. Remembering their past can help us figure out if their resistance to change is rooted in something they experienced in the past. Stepping backwards or pushing yourself back. It's at this point that most people come to terms with the fact that they're receiving a flood of new information. As a result, the new ideas they receive will not fit into their current belief system. Consequently, people rebuff what they have admitted to be spiritual. Leaving a spiritual teacher is a possibility for some people, while others look for new teachers to replace the old ones who pushed them too far. The first step to enlightenment. A genuine spiritual mentor or guide can lead those who resist to their first real breakthrough. You can see what's going on behind the veil and learn how to change your world in a more real way with spirituality seekers. This is a wonderful thing, but it also comes with a lot of danger, because many people may decide to leave their teachers or guides because they believe they have found what they seek. In the long run, it could be a huge mistake that results in major disappointment. People need to know that they still need help in order to move on to the next phase of their journey, the mountain, stair, or wall. As a spiritual pilgrim, you may come across a mountain or wall that stands in the way of your spiritual goal. A central issue, crisis, or challenge in one's life is referred to as a wall or mountain here. In order to grow and blossom, One must be willing to accept such issues as grace and gifts, no matter how painful they may appear or how difficult they may seem. Crossing this wall or mountain is essential, but extremely difficult. Few people have the courage to take this step and overcome their life's greatest challenge. First step toward paradigm shift. People will experience a paradigm shift once they have scaled the obstacle and reached the other side. Here, they begin to learn how to create the universes they envision for themselves. They will begin to understand that they are here for a reason. They may be able to see the past phases of their spirituality quest as inconsequential, allowing them to accept their full humanity. People can begin to see that their spirituality serves a purpose greater than themselves or their immediate family, and that they have a role to play in fulfilling that purpose. In completing this stage, people will have arrived at the pinnacle of their spiritual quest, the pinnacle toward which they are striving. A new universe can be welcomed into the world only when people are fully integrated individuals with a new understanding of themselves. It's when people are able to experience true happiness regardless of their circumstances. As a final point, spiritual growth is likely more than simply believing, because it is really talking about something deeper: our faith. Faith can be a source of strength for those in need, a safety net for when they are confronted with times of stress, anxiety, and unpredictability. For people who lack faith, there is no place to turn when things get difficult or stuck in their lives.